KY or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Man's number one network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And I'm honored to be able to have this opportunity to continue to offer this forum to involve and not just educate and inform, but hopefully be able to include our people. And I say this with great deference. The elderly amongst us are why we're where we are, and it's because of their service and sacrifice that we can enjoy not just the freedom, the prosperity and stability. And whenever we can allow seafarers in particular a chance to feel that we do appreciate and value them, let's do so. With great respect to MLA and Councillor Mr. Austin Harris, I'd like to say first and foremost a special good afternoon to Chief Officer Teresa Echeneke. Ma'am, you are indeed a remarkable lady. We're so proud of you. So good afternoon to you, Ma'am.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. Always good to be around good company. And to the listening audience, I want to say a very pleasant good afternoon.
And thank you. And Ms. Harris, we appreciate that good governance and the governance of a country requires not just participation and involvement, but an integrity in the process, both from the side of those who are governing and the side of those who are electing. And I think as we advance our democracy, we're going to see that the participation of our people becomes even more imperative.
Absolutely. Special good afternoon to you, Sterling. Always a pleasure to be on the program with you. I enjoy our conversations, and you're absolutely correct. As we seek to, advance our society, whether it be constitutionally or otherwise, it is going to depend heavily on the participation of our citizens and our voters to be a part of that process and of that advancement. And I think, as I've said before, I think it's reasons why talk shows like this are so very important, because it engages members of the listening audience to think a little deeper than we would otherwise usually consider in everyday life. So a pleasure to be with you today.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And I believe that as we start to look at the social good, the greater good, we start to appreciate this whole mantra that to whom much is given, much is required. And Mr. Teresa, when we think of the service and sacrifice, we can talk to our parents and grandparents, our uncles, and even those who are much, much older than them, of their adventure, their travels, and we may think it was this wonderful lifestyle to live vicariously through them, but they were not without peril. There was not, limited sacrifice. I mean, they gave all.
That is correct. Persons did sacrifice. I think that we can truthfully say that we are where we are today because of our forefathers, and they have set a very stable foundation for us. As it relates to our seamen, it's a token of appreciation. It's a way of just saying thank you for your hard work, for your dedication, and for getting us to where we are today. We are a very stable community because of our forefathers.
They instilled discipline. They had a respect for time. They, even on a simple fishing trip, they said, we're going to cast off, by a certain time. Weather permitting, they cast it off because in their jobs, when the ship was going to leave port, it was going to leave port. You needed to be there beforehand. I think through their discipline, their deportment, they've demonstrated that they expect us to be disciplined in our finances, for us to have a level of accountability. And even now, through their example, we look at the Seafarers Association, they continue the charitable nature of giving, whether to health services or to education. The least we can do is to ensure that the information they get in order for them to satisfy their own sort of psyche, that we give them information and show them. Now, every 2 years,
that is correct.
We require of them certain, little bits just to, I think, and they're okay with it as long as they understand what they're supposed to do. At that time again, Mom.
Yes, we're back to that time of the year where it's necessary for us to review our information. And that's simply what this process is. It's a review and an update of information. I want to be very, very clear in the information that we provide today that this process in no way disadvantage anyone that is receiving Seaman's benefits, but it is necessary for the ministry to have updated information. So we go through this process every 2 years to update our records and to ensure that we have indeed accurate information in the event that we need to get in contact with persons that we have the information on file, or there are times when persons need to access us for additional information or just to get some guidance. So that regular contact is necessary, and we try to do that every 2 years.
Now, with respect to that, if individuals were on the list, in the last 2 years and prior, is it still possible for, if there are others who would qualify, to get on the list, or the list is now the list?
The list for Seaman's is ongoing, and it's necessary for persons to complete the relevant application form that they can get through the ministry, and it will be considered. We have specific criteria that we have to look at and we have to take into consideration. So the person would have had to gone to sea for at least a 3-year period. Pardon me. The applicant must be Caymanian and must be at the point that they're applying the age of 60 or over. There are other aspects that we look at and take into consideration. Obviously, the intent is to provide some type of stipend, but in the event that the person has a income of over $3,000, they would not qualify for this. And it's also necessary for the individual to be residing in the Cayman Islands for at least 8 months out of the year. So those are factors that we look at and we take into consideration. In the event that the seaman passes on, the spouse then can benefit from this as well, based on similar criteria. And what they would do on the passing of their loved one is to submit information that we would then take into consideration.
Okay. Now, from that perspective, the aspect of being Caymanian, would it be that the person would have had the seaman, the seafarer, had to have been Caymanian at the time of going to sea when they were at sea way back when, or once they were seafarers and then now Caymanian, they would still be eligible, provided all the other criteria has been satisfied?
Yes, we look at the existing circumstances as it relates to their Cayman status.
Okay. Now, as we go through this sort of verification process or recertification, as it were, they were on the list. Now, 2 years hence, we review it. What would they need to do to ensure that they provide the relevant information to continue receiving, this token gesture of gratitude?
The information is very, very basic information. On file, we have existing information on the individual. We have, pardon me, I have a frog in my throat.
It could be worse. It could be a rooster.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Mr. Harris.
That's all right, Mr. Sterling.
Hey, laughter is good medicine. When you're short, if you can't laugh, boy, life is bad. Mr. Research Chanika, our Chief Officer, together with MLA and Councillor Mr. Austin Harris, our guest. Mom, sorry. Thank you so much for laughing with us.
That is fine. As I indicated, the information is very, very basic information. We have information already on file, so it's just about getting that confirmed that there are no changes in circumstances. So things as basic as where they're presently residing, telephone contact information, whether or not they're still residing in the Cayman Islands. We have officers that are in the districts and that will make themselves available at various sections, whether it's at the clinics in particular districts or whether they actually make home visits. And the individual then just provide us with updated information, but it's very, very basic information. It's nothing too time consuming. It probably will take about 10 to 15 minutes. Chances are the discussion goes on a bit longer because nobody goes to visit and get the information and then walk out in 10 minutes. But nonetheless, the information itself is very, very brief. It's only about 10 minutes, and it's very, very basic information that we're looking for at this point.
And this would be a case where there would be a physical interaction between someone within your office and the seafarer.
That is correct.
Okay, so a form like years prior where they would fill out the form and verify, that's not necessary in this case to be submitted. There would be that physical interaction.
For the review process, yes, it is. There's not a requirement for them to complete any forms. There's that physical interaction, the one-on-one, and we're asking some basic questions. Has your address changed? This is what we have on file. They're confirming that, and at the end, once we've reviewed everything, we get them to sign it to confirm that the information is accurate. Okay. So it's a very simple process.
Now, you mentioned that there could be a home visit. For that to be scheduled, would your office, or whether through the different agencies, make contact, or should the seafarers reach out and say, let's set up time to come and visit me at home in that instance?
It's a combination of us being in the community at various points. We have the address, so there are times when we'll just simply knock on the door if the person is available and we can access them at that point. Then we will go ahead and have a brief meeting with them. We're also at different points at the civic centers or at the clinics. So if persons are in the community and able to stop by, then they can do that as well. And the time and dates of those clinics will be made available to you.
Well, when we come back from our break, we'll continue the discussion. You can share more with us, Ms. Teresa. For those who are listening, we invite you to call if you just want to clarify. As we're talking about, the seafarers and their certificates and the whole process of ensuring that the stipend, government grants to our seafarers, but they're still able to receive them without any issues. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
It's Young World Fashion's Father's Day sale, June 11th to 16th. 20% off all clothing and shoes. Choose from a large selection of suits, shirts, pants, shorts, shoes, and underwear, dress and casual wear. So get Dad that special gift from Young World Fashions and get 20% off. Happy Father's Day from Young World Fashions.
Hey, young world, the world is yours. Hey, young world, the world.
Accidents can happen at any time and can leave a strain on you and your family. Be prepared with Workman's Compensation Insurance from Fidelity Insurance. Our brokers can help you meet your government requirements and ensure that you are covered should an accident happen. Don't leave it to chance. Email Fidelity Insurance at insure@fidelitykman.com for a free quote. Get Workman's Compensation from Fidelity Insurance and get some peace of mind. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show.
Tune in every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m.
for Radio Cayman Super Jam Show,
the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Another proud sponsor of the Super Jam Showdown.
Love your lack of fresh vegetable.
The Georgetown Farmers Market, offering the freshest in local produce, preserves, and crafts.
Be proud to be Caymanian. Shop local at the Georgetown Farmers Market today.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. In the studio, MLA and Councillor Mr. Austin Harris, together with Chief Officer Ms. Teresa Chanika, as we go through the process of ensuring, I think Ms. Teresa, as you shared outside, the seafarers who are currently receiving the benefit, they're not at risk or in jeopardy of losing that benefit. Just need them to be able to come in and just recertify. That's the word I would use. Is that the word that would be appropriate? But if not, tell us one.
Basically, it is, again, updating information. No one should be concerned about in any way being disadvantaged or that the services will be immediately terminated if they do not get access to us or if they don't hear from us. I am very pleased to say that with our community development officers, we have already completed a significant portion of the reassessment or the updated information that is related to our Siemens. In the BRAC and Little Cayman, they are almost completed. And in the various districts, the community development officers have been very, very busy and have been making themselves available. We have, I would safely say, about half of our numbers have already been completed. Again, it is simply to update their information. The only time that we look at temporarily or complete termination is in the event of a death, and the services then would be terminated. If the person is off island, and as I indicated, one of the criteria is the individual would have to be on island for at least 8 months out of the year. If the person have relocated and their majority of time is outside of our jurisdiction, we will take that information into consideration, and their services could be temporarily disqualified until they return to reside in the Cayman Islands.
Would that be 8 consecutive months, or would it be 8 months in totality of the 12-month calendar year?
It is a preference that it is consecutive. Again, we look at the individual's overall circumstances because it could be that the individual is having to travel for medical reasons. So again, we will take the individual circumstances into consideration as it relates to that.
I guess, respectful to speaking aloud, we recognize that some of our elderly have family and sometimes good friends who reside either in the region or even other parts, and they go visit and they spend time. They have a place to stay and people that want to welcome them. Before you know it, the summer has passed or the winter's been enjoyed. Right, Mr. Harris?
That's correct, Mr. Sterling. Certainly, as the point that we cannot overstate enough is to ensure, to assure the seafarers that during this reassessment or recertification process, those ex-gratia payments will continue to those who have been receiving them previously. As Ms. Teresa pointed out, this is simply a way of revalidating the information that we have on file to make sure it's still accurate, to make sure that obviously that there's not been any spousal changes or beneficiary changes. Unfortunately, we have to consider that as much as we would like it to be otherwise, our seafarers aren't going to live forever. In many cases, they're 16 above when they apply to begin with. So we have to verify that they are in fact still with us to make sure that the numbers that we have on our books are still consistent with what is being paid. But despite some of the fear-mongering, and that's really all I can call it, there's been some unfortunate fear-mongering, and in particular fear-mongering of our elderly citizens that have caused our seafarers to become concerned, if not frightened unnecessarily, that during this reassessment process your payments are going to stop. Nothing could be further from the truth. It is simply a process of validating the information that we have on file, on record. It is a part of an internal audit process, a recommendation that was made, I think, going as far back as 2013, I think, was the initial assessment from the original 2005. We do it every 2 years just to make sure that the information we have is accurate and that the persons who are receiving these ex gratia payments, again, are the ones that deserve it. One of the things that also is important, and certainly Ms. Teresa can correct me if I'm mistaken here, but one of the things we look out for is that applicants for ex gratia payments must not also be receiving ex-servicemen benefits. In other words, veterans benefits as well. There's no double dipping, as the case may be in this regard. And these are one of the things that, again, this reassessment looks at to make sure that these necessary questions were asked in the initial application so as to ensure that the process is streamlined.
As you shared too, the idea that some circumstances may have changed, but even to the extent that the seafarers may want to change in their bank of choice. Their funds are being direct deposited. This is an opportunity for them to advise you that, instead of Bank A, I wouldn't mind you putting it into Bank B. Maybe instead of account A at the particular bank, could be put it over. Make it easier for them to get that information to you.
That is correct. And again, to do the best that we can to try to ensure that we are not disadvantaging anyone, we're going out into the districts. Persons can expect us to sometimes knock on their doors, or as I indicated, whenever we're at the clinics or the civic centers, we invite them to come out. When it's circumstances where the individual is not physically able to come out, we're happy to go to them. I just wanted to share contacts within, for example, the district of Easton and Northside. This week, actually it's next week, we will be in Northside and Easton. So if we have persons in that area that is able to come out, we would invite them to come out on Tuesday the 19th of June, and we will be at the Civic Center from 9 to 12. So from 9 a.m. till 12 noon, we'll be at the Civic Center. And I know often on Tuesdays, persons will come out to the clinic, which is right next door. So it's really convenient. The afternoon on Tuesday as well, we will be making some home visits. So if persons are able to come out on Tuesday in Northside, we would invite them to. We will be going around doing some home visits, and then we will do follow-up contacts if we're missing anybody that we have not seen on that particular day. And then on the Thursday, which is the 21st of June, we will be in Easton. The intent for Easton is for us to be at the MLA's office, and that will be from 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. So from 2 to 6, we will be available in Easton on the 21st of June.
Now, I guess with the opportunity to try to ensure that we don't confuse, we know this ex gratia payment is available. There was what was called the poor relief grant as well. Mm-hmm. This is separate and distinct from that.
It is indeed. The Siemens is completely separate from the poor relief assistance, or PFA. Yeah. And this is services or stipend that is specific for Siemens or their spouse.
Okay. And just a matter as we're sharing, if you just join us, we're speaking to MLA and Councillor Mr. Austin Harris and the Chief Officer Mr. Teresa Echenike about the seafarers and the ex gratia payments being granted today. So across the country, all 3 islands, we want the seafarers to ensure that they continue to receive the payments, get their information in, updated, corrected, amended where necessary. No qualms at this stage of losing that benefit, but just make sure that we provide the accurate information, because circumstances change.
Indeed. And as you indicated, whether it is that they've changed banks or they've changed where they're residing, or sometimes just simply change their telephone numbers. Mm-hmm. But this is information that is very necessary for us to have. And as Councillor Harris has already indicated, the Siemens benefit is different from the veterans benefit, and so we will also be looking at persons that are receiving veterans benefit, and at the same time doing an update on those services as well.
All right, and to ensure then that, as you shared, this information is available to you. You make it either through the home visits or, if necessary, the people they can visit you at the clinics. For example, as you shared next week, Tuesday or Thursday, Northside or Easton, depending on district, just come out.
That is correct.
Wow. Almost easy, Mr. Harris. It was that easy to canvass doing elections, huh?
If it only were. If it only were. You did ask an important question at the onset as well. are we still accepting new applications for seafarers? And as Ms. Teresa pointed out, the initial criteria is that you must serve at sea for at least a period of 3 years. You must be Caymanian. So theoretically, persons may very well be continually added to the list if there are in fact seafarers that are still, serving at sea. This is separate, though, and apart from the veterans' benefits, ex-servicemen benefits, which are closed. There are no new applications being received for ex-servicemen as far as these ex-servicemen benefits are concerned. And with a little luck, there won't be any wars or otherwise for us to contend with that we need to, perhaps, take another look at that. But where they differ is the ex gratia payments for seafarers. New applications can be received for persons who may still be at sea. And we have, I can think of at least two young Caymanians, give or take, that are actually serving at sea overseas. So I commend them all the time for it. And certainly, if they wish at some period, they could very well apply for ex gratia payments as seafarers, but certainly not as veterans. That benefit is now closed. So those who are on the list are the only ones who will be on the list as it relates to ex-servicemen.
And as I listen to you, the idea, and again I take the example from the seafarers themselves, they are always called to be good stewards. Just through their continuing example, you look at their fundraising efforts to assist education and healthcare. They're not asking for a handout, and they're prepared to be accountable.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and it's not a handout as far as the government is concerned,
Exactly.
where the seafarers are concerned. The government provides this ex gratia benefit to retired Caymanian seafarers and their surviving spouses in recognition to their contribution to these islands. Cayman's first economy was made possible because of our seafarers, and I think despite how much time may have passed since that first economy took rise, we still honor and remember and recognize their contributions. But also, to your point, the Seafarers Association does some tremendous work for their members. So, whether it be fundraising, whether it be, assisting with insurance or overseas medical, or whether it be providing them, specific medical equipment, the Seafarers Association are a fantastic organization that look after their own. But it is absolutely not, and I make that abundantly clear, it's absolutely not a handout in any way whatsoever.
And thank you for stressing that, because I think those who still have seafarers in their families understand the incredible pride and respect that they have and that work ethic. And many of us probably will get chastised for saying this, but many of us wish we could do more for them, because without their service and sacrifice, where would we be?
Quite right.
Yeah.
Quite right. And I think it's important that we not forget that. We oftentimes hear young people ask the question, what is our Caymanian national identity? Well, in many respects, that national identity began with our seafarers. And that is why we honor these ex gratia payments to this very day, and we keep them at the forefront of our mind.
Yeah. What's interesting, you said the young Caymanians to this day who have decided to make seafaring a way of life,
yes,
following on that tradition. What's interesting, for those who have families, maybe there'll be now grandchildren or great-grandchildren who are living in other jurisdictions where the closest bottled water is probably some reservoir, for their potable system. They are gravitating towards the sea, even though they have never been raised up in or around or near the sea, and they still seem to have salt water in their veins.
Absolutely, and I also think, if we were to take the conversation perhaps a little outside of our discussion point, we're here discussing, of course, the ex gratia payments, which falls under the Ministry of Community Affairs. But when we look at the other ministry in which I share responsibility for, immigration, in particular our move towards separating immigration and border control, the border control aspect will see the formation of a Cayman Coast Guard, which is a way of us revisiting those former seafaring routes that we have as part of our history. And I wouldn't be surprised in any way whether that once the Cayman Coast Guard is established, that might encourage future generations to choose careers at sea, whether it be serving as part of the Coast Guard or perhaps as we have seen with at least a handful of young Caymanians, those may gravitate towards becoming merchant mariners again. I mean, it's a trade that is still practiced around the globe today, and there's no reason why future generations won't pick up that craft, if you will.
All right. So we do have a call online, but if anybody don't quite know who's in charge, it's Miss Susan. We're going to pause and take a break. Caller, please stay on the line. When we come back, we'll join you.
The Empowered Woman. Performance-driven, strong-spirited. You need a ride to match your drive. Whether boss by day or mom by night, with lots of leg room and space for sports gear and other things. The new Ford EcoSport is built for you, and it's now on sale for only $22,000, saving you $2,900 off during That Motors summer sale. Stop by That Motors, where you can also save $3,000 off the new Ford Ranger XLT double cab truck. Just two of the many great deals going on now at That Motors on Walkers Road.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. And as we continue the discussion, talking about the ex-gratia payments to seafarers in the studio, MLA Councillor Mr. Austin Harris and Chief Officer in the Ministry, Ms. Teresa Echenike. We do have a caller online. Respectfully thank the caller for allowing us to take that small break. Hey, what they say, make money so we can spend money. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome here on Talk Today.
Good afternoon. I've been listening to this discussion here about
yes, sir.
and veterans, and I think that somewhere along the line, that whole definition of veterans and seafarers, which at one time they were basically the same stature, and I think it's muddled, and I think there needs to be some work done on, and cleaning that up a bit. And I say that because you could go back as far as World War One. In World War One, there were something like 250 Cayman men that was registered for the U.S. draft, and I would venture to say that 75% of them were seamen sailing. And throughout the years, there's been a lot of Cayman seamen who served in various military forces, and I think that there should be an approach to sort of clean up that the description of a veteran, because I think when it was first established, it was established from a very narrow viewpoint, and it's there are a lot of veterans who, as I said before, were seamen. In fact, probably 90% of the ones that are qualified as veterans that went to Trinidad, they were all in one the same seamen. And just another point here, it is almost as difficult to keep the peace as it is to win the war. Keeping the peace presents some perilous times. And I think that there should be a good look at that whole scenario. Veterans, because Cayman Islands have a lot of veterans from various armed forces. And some of them could be feeling a little uneasy that it's so, well, I don't think it's clearly set out. So I think some work needs to be done on that. And if this is the ministry that we're talking to that handles that, I think that would be a good approach to, just moving forward with better understanding of our community and the people who really put a lot on the line to take Cayman to where it's at, and who maybe in their sunset years, could use some assistance, and who probably does not qualify because of, as I say, the very narrow view that I think the veterans thing was established under.
Yes, sir.
Sterling,
yes,
we want to take the opportunity to thank the caller for sharing information with us. The Ministry of Community Affairs are always open to hear from persons that are more knowledgeable in this area. We're not in any way going to try to pretend that we have all of this information or that we are always right with some of the pieces that we're working on. When we do these update information sessions every 2 years, it also gives us the opportunity to interact with persons that know this information firsthand. And so we are able to get updated information, not only on the individual circumstances, but on the background, and truly get a better understanding and appreciation. So I want to take the opportunity to thank the caller, and wherever possible, whenever we are going out and interacting with any of the other persons that are receiving this benefit, and they feel that they have information that is relevant for us to know, we invite them to share that with us.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Ms. Teresa, and certainly thank the caller for his remarks. I take him at his word that certainly there were merchant mariners that served during wartime, but they themselves weren't necessarily a part or a member of any military, naval, or air unit, as we would otherwise define a veteran or ex-serviceman. Certainly, I think loosely translated in the Cayman Islands context, we view veteran as a person who has served in the military, preferably as someone who may have seen conflict in either one of the two world wars. But to his point, certainly a veteran by, I think, U.S. federal definition is any person who has served in active military, naval, or air service, and who was discharged or released under conditions other than a dishonorable discharge. So fundamentally, for a person to be considered ex-serviceman, all you have to do is to serve in a military unit with or without having gone to war. And I think perhaps there may very well be room for some consideration to the point that the caller himself makes. Likewise, again, I can think of many persons in our community, and I think of my mentor and friend, Dr. the Honorable Linford Pearson, who was a merchant mariner in a time of war. He wasn't in the military, but the ship he was on was bombed and sank. So one would argue, what's the thin line between being a merchant mariner and being a part of military service? And I think there's room for that discussion. So I thank Mr. Banks for the point that he made, and I think that is something that certainly is worthy of some further conversation.
And I think as we look at it now and going forward, the idea of showing deference to those who have made an invaluable contribution. Mr. Risi the process you've outlined makes it easier for those who have been receiving the benefit to continue to, ensure that they receive it. The requirements of them, well, just show up and have a brief visit, as we say. Yeah? Nothing extraneous in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned next week in Northside and East End, the 19th and the 21st, as more opportunities for the other districts come available. Either phone call or a note to us, we'll be happy to share. Are there any other dates on the calendar now, or?
Yes, darling, and I want to take this opportunity to provide phone information, contact numbers to persons, and also to say if for any reason when our community development officers are in your district and for whatever reason you're unable to get out to them, please don't hesitate. Give us a call and we will try to arrange for them to come back out into the districts, whether it is through a home visit or whether it is to organize another type of clinic visit. But the number that is readily available for persons to contact the ministry is 244-2426. That is the number that is available for persons to contact the Ministry of Community Affairs directly. However, I just want to quickly share, in addition to the visits in Easton and North Side, we have Miss Anna Rose Scott, which is the Community Development Officer for Cayman Bracken, and she is, again, everybody know Miss Anna Rose. She is readily available in the community, and based on my numbers, have already completed majority of the information or have contacted persons that this is relevant to already. But if there's anyone that she might have missed, persons can feel free to get in contact with her. As it relates to West Bay, the Community Development Officer for West Bay will be at John Gray Memorial Church Hall, 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And she will be there on the 18th, 19th, and 21st of June. And as it relates to the District of Georgetown, we also have that officer that will be making herself available at the Seafarers Hall, and she will be there 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 in the afternoon, and she will be there on June 13th, 20th, and 27th.
All right, well, when we come back from the break, Mr. Harris, perhaps you can just remind our listeners some more so that they understand that this is for them and the benefit is there, and it's just a rather easier process. The phone lines will remain open if you wish to ask a question or seek further clarification. Please stay tuned for our 1 p.m. headline news, and when we come back, we'll conclude our discussion on the ex-gratia payment to seafarers.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The RCIPS is alerting the public of a fake phishing email scam circulating in the island. The scam is orchestrated by a criminal enterprise and created under the pretense of the Cayman Islands government. Police says emails are being sent to members of the public requesting payments from properties and business owners. Police say the address is false and is not being sent by the Cayman Islands government and warns the public against clicking any links demanding payment. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, the U.S. hopes to see major disarmament by North Korea by the end of 2020. That's what the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, says. His comments came a day after an unprecedented meeting between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Singapore. They reached a short agreement to work toward complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Pro-government forces in Yemen, backed by Saudi Arabia, have begun attacking a key port held by rebel fighters. The coastal city of Hodeidah is where most of the aid arrives for people in Yemen's rebel-held areas. Agencies have warned of a humanitarian catastrophe. About 8 million people are at risk of starvation in the war-torn country. And sex, love and loss, self-harm, addiction and recovery. There isn't much Jada Pinkett Smith, her mom, Adrienne Banfield Norris, and her 17-year-old daughter Willow aren't willing to talk about around a shiny round red table in a unique Facebook show that has a growing grateful audience of women. And that, Pinkett Smith said in a recent interview, is the point. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to our guests, not just for their professionalism and diligence, but for the time to laugh. It takes less muscles, but it certainly makes the heart beat even better. MLA and Councillor Mr. Austin Harris, together with Chief Officer Ms. Teresa Echeneke. And I think as we appreciate that there are many of us who still not only recognize and value the contributions of our seafarers, but through that effort can directly, see that where we are today has been because of that service and sacrifice. And now, many of them, as Mr. Harris you shared earlier, may be concerned, maybe misinformation, maybe deliberate, otherwise, well, am I going to still be able to receive this? What do I need to do? In our closing, sort of segment, remind them that it's quite easy. Nothing's at risk at this stage. You just need to do what they've done all along and provide the relevant information, update where necessary.
Certainly before we I offer some closing remarks on the seafarers reassessment that is ongoing, I just want to key in on your comment of service and dedication and express my absolute appreciation for Chief Officer Teresa Echeneke, who leads the Ministry of Community Affairs. I've said it before in other forums. I really have been very fortunate in my short political career to have been associated with such fantastic Caymanians who truly do have a commitment to this place we call home, and certainly Ms. Teresa is no different. She has a huge heart, and she's extremely well placed in the Ministry of Community Affairs, and I'm very, very fortunate to have an opportunity to consider her a team member and to work with her. I can think of no better person more suited to take up the charge of community affairs and to look out for Cayman's most vulnerable and those in need than Ms. Teresa and all of her team, including our newest Deputy Chief Officer, Mr. Andre Ebanks. I really have a fantastic group of individuals that work with me and work for this country, and I want to say that not only to her face, but to certainly the listening audience tuned in, so they can gain appreciation that there are Caymanians behind the scene looking out for other Caymanians, and they do this not because it's a job, but because it is a passion. As it relates to the seafarer ex gratia payments and the reassessment that is currently ongoing, again, I want to make it abundantly clear to the seafarers in particular that this is, again, not a handout, not a hand up, but it is certainly in recognition for their contribution to these, our beloved Cayman Islands. The reassessment that is ongoing right now will not mean a termination in service to those persons who are already receiving ex gratia payments. It is simply an exercise and an effort to maintain accurate and current records going forward so that we can continue to assist those who are in need. We encourage seafarers to attend any of the various locations that Ms. Teresa has pointed out, again, the in East End and North Side, reaching out to Ms. Anna Rose Scott, Cayman Bracken, Little Cayman, at West Bay, the John Gray Memorial Hall, and in Georgetown, the Seafarers Hall, for places and convenient locations where they can meet with members of the Ministry of Community Affairs and have their relevant information updated. Again, for the benefit of seafarers, certainly this government promised and delivered in January 2018 an increase in ex-gratia payments by $100. It went up from $550 to $650 per month, and again we will do the same again in January 2019 by a further $100. So that ex-gratia payment will then increase from $650 to $750 per month. Again, we believe this is fair and reasonable. Certainly, to your point, we wish we could give more. We really do wish we could give more. But we believe and we hope that the small incremental increase will benefit those persons who truly do deserve it. And again, persons who have truly made a significant contribution to this Cayman Islands that we enjoy today. And perhaps this is just our small way of saying that we will never forget those contributions, and we will continue to honor their contributions for as long as they shall live.
Now, Ms. Teresa, if I may ask, as the seafarers either come in person or they are received at home and for that visit, is there a sort of ID or documentation? Is there anything that would be required to verify who they are or their physical address? Is there anything that you need from them in terms of documentation?
We would invite persons, if they're coming out to the clinic, to bring some form of ID. It is convenient for persons to have their passport readily available. If we need a copy of it because for whatever reason we might not have it on file, our phones will be readily available. We'll snap a quick picture and then we'll ensure that it is put on the individual file. But some form of ID, if they're coming out to the clinics, is always encouraged, just to confirm their date of birth as well. If there are changes to circumstances, we invite them to just provide us with that information. If we're coming to the house, obviously that's confirmation all by itself with regards to the individual's place of residence. So again, the process is one of a simple nature. We're doing our best not to make it too complicated for anyone. I know that I've provided a lot of information today, and if anybody missed the information and need to get clarification or need us to repeat that, please don't hesitate to call the ministry at 244-2426. And the ministry will be happy to provide the district information again and the relevant community development officers that is responsible for their particular district.
And certainly to that point, following today's interview, I will also be posting on my own social media platform of Facebook and Instagram details of where these community development officers will be, the times and the dates, in an effort to make it easier for persons who may have missed it. As Ms. Teresa pointed out, we have discussed a great many things this afternoon, and certainly it has been enjoyable, but that information will be made available, at least on social media.
Indeed. Now, gone are the days, that we need a Xerox, hand the phones are everywhere. Now, Ms. Teresa, with respect to the IDs, we know that some of these seafarers, maybe because of their choice or age otherwise, maybe no longer driving, so don't have a valid driver's license. They may have decided that they've traveled the world enough and no longer care to leave this rock, so their passports may or may not be current. In the absence of any current documentation, expired documentation in terms of an ID, photo ID would work, driver's license, voter's card, something just to verify them.
Any form of ID is acceptable for us. We do appreciate that some people do not have valid driver's license anymore, but I can't say that we've come across persons that have absolutely nothing to offer us as form of ID, despite the fact that persons might be getting older. Many of them still enjoy and appreciate traveling. So we've found that their passports are always up to date. So any form of ID is acceptable. And whenever there are concerns that they do not have something that is valid or up to date, we will work with that individual. We will do our best to assist that individual.
And many of them, Mr. Harris, as you know, still have their seaman's card.
Yes.
Back when they were young.
Yes.
And it's with pride that they show it to you. I enjoyed looking at my father's one. Now, if I may ask, just out of clarity, and I think the best thing as you shared is for them to come out and make the call. Understand the process is relatively easy. From the perspective of verifying their address, obviously if they're in the home, that's easier. If they decide because of their nature, their independence, or otherwise they want an outing, they come to one of the physical locations. Do they need to bring something? The banks require sometimes a little bit of paper to say this is their physical address. Some of them still have that, some of them don't for different reasons. How does that work?
Many people just have with them a recent bill that might have their address, their physical address on it, and that is suitable as well. Again, we work with persons in any way possible to try not to disadvantage them, to try not to make this process in any way complicated, and many times when it is that they are just confirming the same address that we already have on record, it does not require any additional paperwork.
All right. Well, I believe, sir, and Ms. Teresa, we do have time for one final call.
Sure.
MLA and Councillor Austin Harris and Chief Officer Teresa Echenike, as we go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Sterling Banks.
Good afternoon, GS. What's up, man?
Okay, man. Thankful, man. You?
I ain't better, and they'll accuse me of being a West Bale.
I can tell you. Let me give you a shout out on that. And I E-Banks behind it.
Well, I mean, they could get better, huh?
Okay, my name is James Sterling Banks, better known as Jimmy.
Mr. Jimmy, sir. Yes, sir.
Third.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jimmy.
Banks, the third.
The third. That's the man.
I am a former seaman. I tell you what I gotta have to do. I gotta have to write a little thing up on myself and then put it over the radio after it's time to come. Just see what I've done for my country.
You go right ahead, sir. Honored to do that.
I'd enjoy listening to that.
And then afterwards we'll tell the truth.
Oh, man. Listen to me. You know the kind of time you gotta waste to tell a lie.
See,
you are a son of the soil, Sterling. You really, really are.
You remember what I told you a couple of days ago? That's so easy to tell the truth.
I remember now, but I always appreciate laughing with you, because like Mr. Harris said, you are indeed remarkable. But thank you for sharing time with us, and I do apologize. No, I know, and I do apologize for taking time, but let me focus on Thanks, sir.
Yeah, man, this is a good program. I'm glad that these people came up with this thing here. How to
Me too,
get
sir.
across to the seamen and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But anyhow, besides that, I want to give Locke credit for being 80 years plus.
Yes, sir.
Bless him very much for that.
Yes.
And I want to recommend him for, since he's that old, he's still young enough to straighten out this veteran and seafarers thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we don't need an expatriate to do that. We was the one that went. Locke was, oh man, he was premier, that kind of stuff. So he can straighten that out easily. Locke know how to do that. He can fix it. If he can make a radio station, he can make that a seaman veteran thing there, man.
Yes, sir.
He all the back, and he wanted to make a good law for that.
Okay. Well, I think that'd be a wonderful suggestion. Anything else, sir?
No, that's enough, man. I can't give you everything one time.
Well, yeah, you keep giving it to us as you read it. Hey, thank you very much, man. Enjoy the rain in your part of the world.
Oh, trust me, man. I look at these green trees, these beautiful flowers and stuff.
When you pick those mangoes, you remember where I live. All right. God bless her.
They look like they had a good show, man.
Yeah, they look like what's need now. Take care, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call, Mr. Jimmy.
Man, listen, I hope people appreciate that. Not only respect, but I love this place, man.
Yeah, man.
The chance to laugh.
Best place on earth.
Well, I
It's
think
the
so.
best place on earth.
As far as anytime that
Without
you're
fear or
scheduled out.
contradiction.
Yep. Come in, Miss Teresa. Thank you, Mom. Well, you know, we always are champion for you.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. I want to extend my appreciation to Councillor Harris for his support, his kind words earlier on. I have a brilliant team working with me in the Ministry of Community Affairs, and I do want to take this opportunity before I leave to say a special thank you to Miss Lisa Welcome, who is very much involved with this process and does an exceptional job with keeping us organized, with ensuring that information is provided to all of the seamen and veterans that's receiving benefits. All of the applications that come in, they come in to her, and she addressed them in a very, very timely manner. So I want to say a special thank you to Miss Lisa, and also to the community development officers that are out there in the district and working very hard to help us get this information up to date in our system. We're most grateful to everybody that contribute to this process and that can make this service possible. And again, a special thank you to Councillor Harris and also to the Premier for their ongoing support with this project.
Thank you, Mom. Harris.
Again, Sterling, thank you very much for the opportunity to sit with you on this very important topic. I just simply want to again remind the seafarers to not let anybody frighten you about this process. Don't let anybody, convince you that, you stand a chance of losing that which you have already been approved to receive. I mean, unless you have become a millionaire in the last 2 years, and frankly, you don't need the government support, that's the only way an individual would likely have these services ceased. This process is, again, as I've stated before, just a way to ensure that we maintain accurate records on our seafarers so that the benefits that have been provided will continue to be provided, and so that also their beneficiaries in the time of their demise will also be secure in the knowledge that these services will also continue to look after their families, because, again, we know it's important to people. But to the seafarers themselves, this is in recognition for your contribution to the Cayman Islands, and that is an honor that this government holds in high regard. You have no fear in terms of this reassessment process. This is just administrative paperwork so that we can make sure that we make auditors happy and we can make sure that we're above board. But do not allow members of the community or otherwise to spread fear or concern. You will not lose anything in this reassessment process, but quite to the contrary. You will only gain further security. So, again, I thank you very much for the time. I thank Mr. Banks for his call. I thank Mr. Jimmy for his, and all of the listening audience. It's been a real pleasure to be here in studios this afternoon, and I thank you for hosting us.
Well, thank you for making time, and hopefully, as we are able to, if you need, let us meet our forum to help the information to get out there.
Absolutely.
We're going to pause and take a break, but we ask you to rejoin us when we return. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Optical Outlook is so wicked.
They're brilliant. Tremendous.
So hot. They're awesome.
Yo, them cool.
They're sweet.
Just ice, mate.
I love them like cooked food.
Head to Optical Outlook and find many designer brands for men and women. Sun safety and eye health care never look so good. They'll be able to help you find the best fit for your face and budget. Call 746-2020 and book your eye exam today. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook and make sure to follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Are you a member of a community organization, like a professional association, sporting or philanthropic group, or a church? If your group was established for public benefit and if you solicit contributions from the public or your members, you may need to register your group as an NPO, a non-profit organization. This applies even to registered companies. Avoid fines and other penalties by sending your application to General Registry by 15th of June so they can be processed before the legal deadline. And sending it now means you'll get the $300 application fee waived. For more information on NPOs, visit cbp.ky.
Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for the 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National Bank, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
All members of Hillside Chapel in Cayman Brac are being asked to attend an emergency business meeting tonight, Wednesday, June 13th, 7:30 at the Hillside Chapel.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the light.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. It's a name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we're going to put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And thank you for joining us as we invite into our studio an opportunity to talk about the Celebrate Cayman initiative. And joining us is the Executive Chairman, Mr. Alfonso Wright, together with the Deputy Exec Chairman, Ms. Marzita Borden. Alfonso, I hope you don't mind. I as much as I publicly laugh with you, likewise, hopefully show my love and deference, man. You're a good guy. Our hairstyle is almost the same now, so I appreciate you making me feel stylish.
If that brings you pleasure.
I didn't say it did, you know.
I'm happy to help wherever I can, Dwayne.
Thank you, man. And Ms. Marzita, when we look at Cayman and we talk about whether the balance is in the political directorate about nation building, and whether it's about advancing our democracy, whether it's about that historical narrative, the idea that we can celebrate as a people something of such significance and ensure that for generations to come, that they not look at it with deference, but they also look at it with a sense of credibility and integrity. A coat of arms, whether it's the family's own crest, whether it's a nation, whether it's maybe a university having something that symbolizes and embodies what they are. For us, a coat of arms is a very significant thing. History being oral as it is, limited records, and sadly, some of the devastations, whether it was recent as Ivan or back to when Alfonso was young playing in the Garden of Eden, we lost a lot of things in the ensuing centuries. It's important. Come on, Alfonso, you don't expect me to be kind to you always.
Well, it didn't last long, did it? You made a pledge when I walked in the studio.
No, I said I would try.
Oh, okay.
But no promises.
All right.
But it's important that we get this and we get it right. And I think the extension of the project team to the wider community to come forward a little bit here, a little bit there. Who knows? There might be somebody with something tangible in their household that they didn't even realize was there until now, when that matched with someone else's, oral recollection could mean the difference between, preserving something in an accurate way or spinning a narrative. Very much, Mazida?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Thanks a lot for having us on. You mentioned earlier the truth that lots of times history is lost through national tragedy, and you mentioned Hurricane Ivan. For sure, we lost lots in that catastrophe. However, speaking about the coat of arms specifically, many people will know, as we've talked about, we lost the original warrant back in 1972 in the fire of the former government administration at that time. And so it's timely that you mention that we can lose things sort of not just through not passing the stories down, but just through natural incidents. And in this case, we were able to bring the royal warrant back home again, and that happened at our launch ceremony back on the 4th of June, which was delayed by 1 week due to weather. But it was still a glorious day out on the green at the former government admin building. And we were able to bring that royal warrant home. And of course, we are extremely grateful for the people who came out on the day, but also the people who helped contribute to that. Because as Mr. Alfonso can quite tell you, he got many calls and messages and emails along the way leading up to that ceremony to help us put together bits and pieces of the puzzle that is the coat of arms that we are so proud and privileged to be unveiling and sharing with and building with the Cayman community over the next year.
Alfonso, I think that day, as we build up to other events in this continued celebration, get more of us on board and invited out in numbers to appreciate who we are. That day was just sort of a little sampling, as it were.
It was a remarkable day, Dwayne. I think we took some effort in putting all the plans together, but we did what we thought was the best we could do at the time. We were fearful and respectful of the weather, but it held. And at the end of the day, we had quite around the numbers, if not a few more of the numbers that we anticipated that would come out. I believe if the weather was a little bit more predictable, we probably would have had a few more people there. But people that came out enjoyed themselves. We did our best to make sure that it started on time and it finished on time. While everybody may not know what our exact plans were, but we did plan an hour for the actual ceremony, and we actually started a few minutes, maybe a minute or two early, and we were right on the button for finishing at 11, and it was well received by everybody. Everything, I believe, fell in place for it, and we've had a tremendous amount of positive comments about it.
And I think it's important to mention for those who weren't there on the day or weren't able to watch the live stream and see the faces and the joy of the people that were there. We did have about 400 people out on the green on that Monday morning at 10 a.m. And I think that was a fantastic turnout, considering many people were perhaps at work and weren't able to attend. But we were quite pleased with the gathering that was there, and everyone who was there, definitely you could feel their excitement and energy for what we were doing there on the day and everything that is to come.
I think just, Alfonso, if you would guide me in this, and this is just an observation. I'll make no apology. Mr. Harris said earlier, this is a great place to live, perhaps the best place. many of us love this country, not just those who've born here and have long ancestral links, but those who've come and really, really embody the spirit. And to see this unfold, there's so many people who say it's such a timely, opportunity for this country now when it looks at what, the next 500 years could be like. Maybe the centennial celebration. How do we not only control and define the narrative, but how do we ensure that we embody that spirit and legacy and that sense of resilience and resolve that is the Caymanian people?
Well, I think it's education. I think it's always making sure that we up front and center, that we always project, to people, to our visitors, to our own people. We continue to educate them on who we are, where we came from, what we stand for. And I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for everybody to embrace something like the 60th anniversary of our coat of arms, and to make sure that we don't allow people to ever forget again what this coat of arms mean to us, what our proud historic past means to every single Caymanian. And it is our duty, I believe, to do our best to make sure that everybody understands and is educated as far as we can about these things. Next year, we have the 60th anniversary of our first constitution, another historic milestone for Cayman. That we intend to once again bring a lot of things to the fore that maybe some people have forgotten and some just don't know about it yet.
And I think, not to take away from this and certainly not to get into it, but I've always marveled at, because he said it publicly, Mr. Michael Hurlson's comments, going back to the fateful day in December 10th, way back when we were younger playing marbles at Peter St. James. That may have been our first constitution.
1931?
1831.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't. You might have been there.
I was.
Yeah,
I'm told my ancestors were there. I mean, I look back at the ancestral history, but that's important because, in short order, what is it going to reflect if we don't record it now, and what are we going to look like as a nation if we don't celebrate it now and provide opportunity? This is a wonderful time to be living in.
I say so too.
Was it the best of times, Miss Marzita, and the worst of times?
I think it's some pretty good times right now. And of course, I mean, as with any story, you have your ups and your downs, but I think all of it's meant to be celebrated. And the coat of arms is a great opportunity to do that. It was the first visual identifier of the Cayman Islands. It was that first domino, if you will, in these chain of events along to, as the Premier repeatedly says, sort of modern day Cayman and this path to modernity that we've been on. So I think that for Caymanians, but also residents and visitors alike, if you want to get the essence of Cayman Islands, and of course a critical part of any story is where you've come from, in addition to where you are and where you're going, the coat of arms is a great place to begin that story. And at a time when we need to be sharing the Cayman Islands story even more with those on our shores, those are visiting, looking from beyond as well, the coat of arms is a great place to begin to do that.
Well, I think, whether it was a tale of two cities or whether it was just, the task of two youngsters, the fact that we move forward in tandem with a sense of healthy respect of where we are. Mr. Alfonso, this is a country worth celebrating and, democracy worth fighting for.
Yeah, I would say so. I believe we pretty much did most of the things that we talk about nowadays. We got it right the majority of the times. There are a few things that we can look back on that we can say, that was a tragedy, a horrible mistake. And I think that we ought to thank our forefathers or those who were ahead of us. That even back then there was good foresight. People understood what was happening then and had a good idea of what was to come.
I've been looking and very thankful for the many different people who touched my life, and some would probably, disrespect Ms. Marzito. Perhaps, Fonzo, you never remember the song, Afraid to Offend, the wasted days and wasted nights, but they may think the Love Boy song, love never minute of it. Where we are in this era, Fonzo, and Marzita, from today onward, as we celebrate our 60th anniversary of our coat of arms, as we see that this depiction how it embodies who we are as we start to reflect on what some of the elderly folks who are still with us can tell us about those early days. Yes, it's 60 years, but 60 years of great triumph and progress, 60 years of great challenge and sacrifice, but I think a call to serve, the greater good. And looking forward to all the continued things that are going down as you plan the schedule and as we embody what is the Caymanian spirit.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, we talk about this every time we have the opportunity to share with the public that throughout the next year, there are a range of initiatives and events that allow people to get involved in ways that excite them and that are meaningful to them. And so the ceremony was an opportunity, of course, to celebrate with ceremony at that event on the 4th of June and coming up at the end of the month. Something that is truly for everyone, a summer festival to begin the summer full of culture and arts and food and performances and fireworks and everything, basically giving people from the very young to the young at heart to come out and celebrate just life in Cayman and have an opportunity to tasteful. I think our team has found ways to intersperse bits and pieces and learnings about the coat of arms throughout the way, but ultimately it's about having a great experience in downtown Georgetown on the 23rd of June.
Well, that's it, and that's, I think we're 2 Saturdays away from not this one, but the one following. The idea that we come downtown. I mean, those people who have traveled to very large metropolitan areas to be downtown on the waterfront, in particular in a bustling harbour, we have a majestic setting. I almost want to envy you as a child, Alonzo, to be able to go to the Hawke's Bay and look out back then to see what was there. It must have been an incredible setting. To see the gold feet come into harbour. I mean, you remember that, Fonzo?
No, I don't. But I truly would have loved to have been able to see that. I've kept hoping that somewhere along the line that we were able to get the gold field up and floating. But I don't think that will ever be again.
But that's why I think this is important, that we see, Mr. Arzi, you talk about maybe those missed opportunities. Perhaps it was just a misalignment of strategies. Maybe it wasn't a full appreciation, total buy-in by the populace as to the importance. I think not many of us value those things. We see them as being sentimental or little mementos without appreciating that it's recorded for a reason.
Well, how about we... what's the phrase I'm looking for? Blanking. Basically, living as you're trying to teach. You mentioned the gold field. 3 of us sit here know the gold field, but there might be people out there right now who are listening going, what on earth are they talking about? Sure, they could Google it, but maybe one of you might want to, in 30 seconds, quickly explain why the gold field was significant to the Cayman Islands. That's a little bit of history that we can share right now.
Now, the idea that, as we talk about Celebrate Cayman and our coat of arms, and whether it's the 60th anniversary, or there may be some listening now who have parents or grandparents or an uncle or an old family friend who can tell us about some of these things. Could we do as Miss Teresa said earlier? All right, we have tablets and smartphones and all these things. Could we record a snippet of that discussion? Not just post it for a 5-second, whatever it is they do these days with their stories, but do something that could be recorded and captured and help to inform the next generation. Maybe start by being a part of our celebrations and inviting along, those who are new to our society, but those who also, like us, may have been here for a long time, born here, but never really embraced it because we're not quite sure what is it. We never had the opportunity through education, Fonzo, to really appreciate what it is,
Which is what makes it so much more important what we're doing now, to bring to the forefront the history, our journey from 1503, I guess, is as far back as we have recorded, and do our best to continue to protect that history and to make sure that it's there for generations to come. I am happy to do my little part in the little short time slot that I have, on this earth. There are so many people that a lot of this means a lot to. There are some people that it's insignificant, but I believe that history will not be kind to us if we who know better don't do better.
To whom much is given, much is required. I think that's why as I listen to people who are either involved directly, who've attended the initial things, including last Monday, to those who are starting to remember as a result of this what it was like, what a Cayman is, the fact that in today's Cayman, the technology that exists, the opportunity to travel, the state of our medical care and education, to think back to even 4 decades ago, it's a significant accomplishment in a very, very short time. Now, are we going to be that continued contributor, making that invaluable, contribution to our society? Now, from the listening public, are you able at this stage, without divulging too much, be able to share any tidbits, maybe when we come back in a bit, as we think about it, of fascinating things that you weren't aware of or that have been corrected that you thought always existed, that have been an eye-opener for you, a revelation almost?
Nothing new that I haven't spoken with you about already. I hear on the radio. There are things that continue to happen day in and day out, but right now we're in more of the I would say organizing stage of an event, rather in discovery stage where we're doing a lot of research, because we do have an event that's coming up on the 23rd. And our time to do that was cut short by a week, since the launch ceremony was put back a week from May 20th to June 4th. So we were in organization mode here now, and trying to put all the pieces together to make sure that our Summerfest is a success next weekend. And we kind of want to talk a little bit about that.
Indeed. Well, could I invite you to join me as we go to the phones and welcome this caller as we speak to the executive chairman of Celebrate Cayman. We take the call now. Miss Susan says that's okay. Thank you, Miss Susan. As you go to the phones, good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Blessings to you, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to the gentleman. And I don't know if there's a lady there. This is Georgette.
Yeah, Miss Georgette, we have
I recognize Mr. Loxley's voice, but the other people I'm sure, or I'm not quite sure if I know them.
Yes, ma'am. Well, in the studio right now, we have Mr. Alfonso Wright and Miss Marzita Borden. Mr. Loxley had called us earlier. So in the studio, physically present, is Miss Alfonso and Miss Marzita.
Hi, Miss Georgette.
Hi there, my dear friend, Mr. Alfonso Wright. How are you and your family?
Everybody's doing good, Miss Georgette. How about you?
Well, I am so grateful that God gave me another day of life.
That's true.
Amen.
And so far, my family, they're all doing quite well.
Thank God.
I just want to say about, as I told Susan, about 2 sentences. The gold field. Oh, my goodness. When we used to have those regattas out in the harbor and saw those sailing boats with their beautiful canvas sails up, and each one trying to get ahead of the other. It was so beautiful. It was awesome. And nowadays when they have it's so different. I have never been down there, but I've seen it on TV where they have boats all lit up, and it's down at Cayman Bay. And let's face it, not everybody has a car or has a wish to go down there. It's a pity that we gave up doing those races. But the Goldfield, he could sail. And in those days, we depended on her and other sailing boats to bring food in for us. Not like today when planes come in and bring all the food for the supermarket. We would have practically starved to death had it not been for the Goldfield and some other wonderful sailing boats that we had. So may God bless you all, and may our children at school be taught about these things that happened in the past. It's not just today that they should be learning about or the future. They need to know about the past.
Yes, ma'am.
I I have told my children and grandchildren as much as possible about things that happened in my young days, in my childhood days. And I thank you so very much, Mr. Sterling, and God bless your panel. And I always say it, I say it from my heart, and I mean it. May God bless every person on our three islands. We're like one country, separated by some water. God bless you all.
Amen, Mom. God bless you too.
Thank you, Ms. Georgia.
Thank you, Ms. Georgia.
She's a remarkable lady, man. Thank you, Mom.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to pause quickly and take a short break and come back with concluded discussion as we tell you more about Celebrate Cayman.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
CUC advises customers that the outages scheduled for Shamrock Road on Wednesday, June 13th and Thursday, June 14th have been cancelled. CUC apologizes for the very short notice and for any inconvenience caused.
Did you know that in the past 12 years, 35 young men in Cayman have been killed by illegal firearms? These are just too many lives to lose to gun violence. The RCIPS, together with community partners, is running a firearm amnesty in the month of June. This means that guns and ammunition can be turned in with no questions asked. Join us in ridding the island of these illegal guns. Visit us at www.rcips.ky to learn how.
This message is brought to you by the Lions Club of Grand Cayman.
The talented people, the residents of Cayman shine.
Cayman, get
talent exposition of the arts.
It is here again. The new Self-Help Community Foundation presenting the 17th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts. Sunday, June 24th at the Hartwell Theater. Enjoy superb performances by Shamika Clark, Rico Rolando, Andrea Rivera, the UCCI Performing Arts, Liana DeCosta, among many others. Hosted by MCs Andrel Harris and Jevi Ebanks. Part of the proceeds from the talent exposition will go towards the Pines Retirement Home. Prepaid tickets are available at Funky Tangs and Winner's Circle for only $10 or $15 at the gate. The 2018 Talent Exposition of the Arts, 5:30 p.m. Sunday, June 24th at the Hartwell Theater. Get your tickets today.
Every year, this show is put on so you can come out and support local talent.
It's hard to shop for Dad, isn't it? He seems to have everything and loves anything you buy, but you want that special gift.
June 17th is Father's Day.
So now is the time to head down to the Christian Enlightenment Center. You will find Christ-centered resources that educate, encourage, and inspire. Show Dad your appreciation for his love, kindness, and the strong support he's given over all these years. Make Christian Enlightenment Center your first stop for Father's Day gifts that will leave a lasting impression on your dad's heart. The Christian Enlightenment Center, open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday, across from Cayman National Bank in Georgetown.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
All
the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
It's hard to shop for Dad, isn't it? He seems to have everything and loves anything you buy, but you want that special gift.
June 17th is Father's Day.
So now is the time to head down to the Christian Enlightenment Center. You will find Christ-centered resources that educate, encourage, and inspire. Show Dad your appreciation for his love, kindness, and the strong support he's given over all these years. Make Christian Enlightenment Center your first stop for Father's Day gifts that will leave a lasting impression on your dad's heart. The Christian Enlightenment Center, open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday, across from Cayman National Bank in Georgetown.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. United in Jesus Christ, we are the soldiers of the Lamb.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. He's a name
Praise Time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us as we continue our discussion on Celebrate Cayman. As we have in the studio Mr. Alfonso Wright, the Executive Chairman, together with Ms. Marzita Borden, the Deputy Executive Chairman. Now, 60 years celebrating the coat of arms. I think, Ms. Marzita, as you shared, next Saturday, not this one, but the one following on the 23rd. Wonderful event downtown. Respectful, ma'am, would you, in our closing, share with us some more details and extend invitation to the wider public to come out?
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Dwayne. So the Celebrate Cayman Summer Festival is a fantastic opportunity for everyone in the Cayman Islands to come out and kickstart their summer with culture and arts and food and fun downtown. The event begins at 4 p.m. and ends at midnight. And we're essentially going to transform downtown Georgetown a bit, and we're going to have lots of activity engagement areas for people to participate. So we will have one of the streets will be dedicated to food vendors, another street dedicated to arts and craft vendors, history exhibits, and so on. One thing that we want to highlight, in case anyone is sort of winding down their listen for the day, is that we do have some opportunities still available for people to participate as a vendor, whether food vendor or arts, craft, or specialty item vendors. And the deadline is this coming Friday, the 15th of June. So we encourage people to get those in right away. You can visit celebrateCayman.ky. And there's a link from the homepage, but if you want, there's celebrateCayman.ky/summer-festival. And there's a simple form to fill out. All the information that you need is right there. But of course, if you want to drop us a note, you can email us at celebrateCayman@gov.ky. Now, on the day, there's so much happening for children right through to adults. Of course, fireworks is something people absolutely love and want to come out to. A few people have asked us online, what time are the fireworks? The fireworks are at 8 p.m., but we will be publishing a full schedule and festival map in the newspapers next week online, so people should look out for that. But to give people an idea of the ways that we are integrating bits and pieces of the coat of arms in this event, and it's a festival with coat of arms flavor, if you will, is some of the areas where the activities will be taking place have been renamed. The road sign hasn't changed, but we've named them, the areas, sort of inspired by the coat of arms. So the food vendors will be in the Pineapple Pavilion. The arts, craft, specialty items will be in That Rope Lane. History will be found along Turtle Tracks. The live performances will be on the Star Stage. The children's craft and creativity area, that'll be called Little Lions. And where some of the organizations who are a critical part of our community and foundation and fabric, they will be at Upon the Seas, because that's sort of the foundation of Cayman as well, along the waterfront. So again, you'll see along the way, there'll be signs, there'll be information a bit, giving people sort of little bits of information and history about what each of the areas are and what they're inspired by, but that's sort of where you'll find them. So this is going to be sort of tastefully in your face, getting some information about the coat of arms, but it's absolutely meant to just be a multisensory evening out in Georgetown with food, arts, culture, history, entertainment, and so on. So we encourage people to come out for that. Like I said, it's Saturday, June 23rd from 4 p.m. until midnight on the downtown waterfront.
Food, festival, arts. That's the ones.
And there's no admission.
Yeah, it's free admission.
Free.
Yeah,
right on the waterfront.
Yes.
And the road's coming off. I think it's Cardinal Gorin and
Shedden Road.
Shedden Road.
Yeah, but along the waterfront. Again, the full festival map will be published, and the minute you see it, you're like, oh yeah, there you go. But those sort of main streets leading down to the waterfront are what we're using. And like you said, you probably want to be there around 7 o'clock on the 23rd. The sun sets at 7:07. So you want to take in a beautiful sunset down on the waterfront with your family as you wait and prepare for the fireworks, taking some live entertainment. That's wonderful. But there will be activity and food and crafts and everything taking place from 4 o'clock in the afternoon if you happen to have plans that evening or if you just want to have a great afternoon downtown. But 4 p.m. until midnight. So it's 8 packed hours of culture and fun and fest to celebrate the end of school. School ends next week, and of course to just kick off the summer as well.
Well, as we get into the near of this discussion, we do have a caller online. Alfonso Wright, Marzita Bodden, our guest. We go to our phones. Good afternoon, you're on Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon again, Sterling Drainey Bank.
Good afternoon again, sir. How are you?
Sterling Bank, the third again.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and good afternoon to your panel, Ms. Marzita and Alfonso.
Good afternoon, sir.
The president, the chairman.
The executive chairman for the Celebrate Cayman project, yes, sir.
You sitting down now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a good one. Hold your seat.
Thank you.
Okay. That's something to bring up here just quick time. Will the coat of arms be displayed on that day also?
Yep, absolutely. It's the heart of what we're celebrating, and the coat of arms will be seen in lots of different formats on the night, including one that we are super excited about and look forward to sharing with everyone. And in addition to the streets and the areas where we have activities happening, the Cayman Islands National Museum has kindly agreed to have abnormal hours, operating hours that evening. So they're going to be open from 4 until 8 o'clock that evening as well. So you can absolutely expect seeing the coat of arms there on the evening, of course, always displayed in ways that are in compliance with protocol and our laws in that regard. But also you'll get to see some of the sketches and specimens of initial drawings of the coat of arms. So you can see some of the options that were put in front of our Justices of the Peace and Vestrymen back in 1957-58. And the one that was ultimately selected. So it will be there on the evening in several formats, and we'll be celebrating each of the elements of the coat of arms as well.
All right, thank you very much for sharing that, and I recognize the time. So Alfonso, the 23rd is just, this weekend and then the following.
Yes, it is, and, we want to encourage everybody to, make some time to come out. I believe there are a few other things that are going on that day, but they're all in the earlier part of the day, the morning part. So we believe that the afternoon is pretty much free for you to attend Celebrate Cayman Summer Fest. There's nothing else going on. And we want to take, this opportunity to invite everybody. Please come out. You don't have to be there all day, but come and share. Come and see what's happening. Participate. It's going to be a super day for kids. So want you to make plans to bring your kids out. Kids, I want you to make sure that you insist that your parents bring you out. There's a little area called the Kids Zone that's going to be catered specifically for children. I also want to say, Dwayne, that we have reached out to the Department of Children and Family Services, and we're making arrangements with them. They are on board with us. We're making special arrangements to bring our elderly citizens out from all of the districts. That is something that we're is in the works right now. Awesome entertainment on stage. We're putting all of that together. One of them that I can tell you about right now will be, of course, the National Folk Singers will be on stage, and music of all types, all kinds, all levels, all ages. Is going to be involved on Saturday. It's going to be one wonderful event.
All right.
And I know some people might have heard all the elements that we mentioned and thought, but what about the waves themselves? We will have the wave bars at the festival, and from 4 to 8, because it is a children-safe, family-friendly event, from 4 to 8, those bars will be serving non-alcoholic beverages, and then from 8 p.m. until midnight, the wave bar will have alcoholic beverages. So we have all the elements represented there, but to highlight and accentuate what Ms. Alfonso just said, we want children to come out and have a fantastic time from 4 to 8, taking the fireworks, and then it's largely focused on entertainment for the adults following that.
All right, well, thank you both very, very much. And for those who celebrate Cayman.ky, if you want more information, certainly call us here and be in tune to Radio Cayman as we continue to inform you about Celebrate Cayman. Let's pause and take a break. When we come back, more talk today.
Community radio with a different appeal. The voice of the people. Security through adversity. Stuck on you. Radio for all time.
You're listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Around 75 delegates and youth parliamentarians from 20 countries will be in Cayman this week for the 43rd Annual Regional Conference of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Brexit and other topics will be debated and discussed at the conference, including security for Commonwealth countries, irrelevant population growth, and how CARICOM should respond to a focus on deglobalization. The conference will be at the Marriott from this Friday until June 23rd. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, Italy's Economy Minister Giovanni Tria has postponed talks scheduled for today with his French counterpart amid a row over a migrant ship. A French official said the ministers had agreed by phone to meet in the coming days instead. The development came on a day of diplomatic twists between the nations. The melting of Antarctica is accelerating at an alarming rate, with about 3 trillion tons of ice disappearing since 1992. That's what an international team of ice experts said in a new study. In the last quarter century, scientists calculated that the southernmost continent's ice sheet, a key indicator of climate change, melted into enough water to cover Texas to a depth of nearly 13 feet. All that water made global oceans rise about 0.3 of an inch. And Disney has released its first teaser trailer for Tim Burton's remake of the classic Dumbo. The live-action film stars Danny DeVito, Colin Farrell, Alan Arkin, Eva Green, and Michael Keaton. Originally released in 1941, Dumbo is the story about an elephant with big ears who can fly. Dumbo is due in theaters in March of 2019. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
It's hard to shop for Dad, isn't it? He seems to have everything and loves anything you buy, but you want that special gift.
June 17th is Father's Day.
So now is the time to head down to the Christian Enlightenment Center. You will find Christ-centered resources that educate, encourage, and inspire. Show Dad your appreciation for his love, kindness, and the strong support he's given over all these years. Make Christian Enlightenment Center your first stop for Father's Day gifts that will leave a lasting impression on your dad's heart. The Christian Enlightenment Center, open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday, across from Cayman National Bank in Georgetown.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to remind the listening public of all the wonderful things that unfold in our community. Sometimes we're kind of late to forget that there are some positive things, just like the Proud of Them nominating committee remind us that we have a wonderful youth out there that are not all as bad as the media and others seem to indicate. We have some wonderful civil servants. Join us in the studio, President John Bothwell, and the head of the Public Relations Committee, Ms. Paulette Conley, joins us. And off the bat, Mr. President John, thank you so much for being so amenable, for allowing us to complete other guests and switch in a normal time.
No problem. We're just very happy for the this venue that Radio Cayman affords us. Although if I realized that we were going to be on TV, I'd have gone and got my haircut before the show instead of after. So, then tell us next time.
If I knew we could be on TV, I would have found something else to do.
You would have grown hair.
Oh, no. I you know what? That's an ongoing dialogue, and I embrace technology. And there are some things that you don't mix. You don't mix chocolate with other things. You don't mix radio and TV. But that's just me. But The Civil Service Association,
Yes.
President John. I understand a great many hats to be worn and continued diligence and dedication and that determined effort to ensure that the civil servants appreciate that they're required to do much, but equally, and there is a joint effort to protect and preserve their ongoing works. What do we have in store for our membership today, sir?
Well, we were joking about the communication technology, but that is what we wanted to talk about. Miss Paulette and her committee have been doing just a sterling effort for us over the last 6 to 12 months of trying to upgrade our communication, how we communicate with our members. So, Miss Paulette, you can jump in any time and start talking about the stuff you've got going on.
Okay. Last year, our members really drove home the point that they wanted more contact with each other and with Management Council through social media, because we all know that that's the big thing nowadays, social media. It rules our lives, you know.
Sorry, you said ruins your lives? Or rule the day? Sorry, Ma.
Well, it rules our lives a lot nowadays. However, I believe in using social media for positive things, and our members also believe that as well. And for many years, they've been asking for us to update the website, to get Facebook, to get tools such as Instagram and LinkedIn. And so we listened to them, and about 7 months ago now, I think it's been, we formed a communications committee with some very talented civil servants who has a wealth of experience. So we presently have an updated website. We're still revising content and adding content as we get it, because we're still doing a lot of research that we think needs to be added. But the website is up and running again. We had taken it down for a little while to do this. We have our Facebook page where we've sent out invites to our 1,400 plus members to join. So you should have gotten an email from us. And if you would so like to be a part of our Facebook group, you just accept that invite. We also have LinkedIn, which is another popular business tool that comes through Facebook. And we also have Instagram, and you'll be seeing more things on Instagram in the future. Right now, the person on the committee who helps us with the Instagram page is on medical leave, so there hasn't been as much action with the Instagram page as we would like to, but soon to come. And on our Facebook page, we do things like we post things of interest for our members, things about training. We post fun facts, photos of members in action. We do greetings like, Mother's Day just passed, and we send greetings to all of our moms. Father's Day is coming up. We'll recognize them. We've done Christmas, and we also put special messages to encourage our members, because we believe that an encouraged membership makes a more productive membership. Once, they feel, we try to make our members feel like they're part of a big family. The communications committee is working very hard now on things like a new members package, so that when we have new civil servants go to orientation day and they decide that they want to join the Civil Service Association, in the future they will be getting a package, an email package, because we decided to save paper, save some trees, so you'll be getting a members package electronically to tell you what's happening in CISCA and what CISCA means to the membership and how you can get involved. And of course, everybody likes a little perk now and then, so we're going to be getting some new giveaways for members very soon. We had some last year, and our beautiful shopping bags, which is also helping to save the environment. So we have other things, other environment friendly items coming on the way, because Monday was a holiday. You know, the shipments got held up in customs or the clearinghouse. So we'll have those shortly for our members. And, you know, we're just really excited that we are in an era where we can communicate with our members more freely, and they can communicate with us. So that's what, or that's where we are right now as far as communications is concerned. You know, we welcome suggestions, we welcome comments, feedback. You know, put your concerns on our Facebook page. We have a page just for our members only that is not shared with the public. We also have a public page that the public can see the great things that our members are doing. So if you have concerns, if you have questions for Management Council, you can get them to us. You can also email us at
CICSA@gov.ky is the simplest one to get us at.
Yes. And so feel free, members that are listening, to interact with us. We want to hear from you. And, of course, these avenues are for you.
You know, as I listen to you, recognizing that as we look at the Civil Service Association and the fact that new civil servants in particular, they come into the service, they need mentoring, guidance, nurturing, how to navigate the system, or how to be able to equally appreciate that there are certain protocols in order to get acclimated. Good way to join and to benefit not just from the concerted effort, but President John to be able to maybe get easier into the system and be more successful.
Absolutely. That's one of the big things we've been talking about a lot on this show and other times with our members, is about that person-to-person interaction. I mean, it's social media. We want to encourage our members to interact with each other. We want to encourage a degree of networking with amongst them. For geeky guys like me, that's a bit of a bad word. I don't like dealing with people, but it is just the way the world works. And the Civil Service Association is a great way for civil servants to network with each other. If you're a new civil servant and you've got that question that you don't want to ask in your office, but you want to ask someone in civil service, drop it out in the Facebook group. As Ms. Paulette said, there's 1,000+ of people on there, members who one of them's going to have the answer. And we've all been new civil servants, or we've all dealt with whatever it is you're dealing with, and they'll have the answer. And more than just, they'll give you the right answer. So they'll have the official answer, they'll be able to explain to you how it works, and very often why it works that way. This is one of the things the civil service or any large organization always runs into with people from outside. Why are you doing it this way? There's usually a reason. But until you have that institutional knowledge to pull on, you're working in the dark to an extent. And that's what the Civil Service Association can provide to its members through things like our Facebook group or the emails discussions, is that institutional knowledge. We are all your fellow civil servants. We're all friends in the association. Ask anything and somebody will be able to give you the good answer.
I say knocking, a seek.
Yeah, and although I am the deputy director here at Radio Cayman, I want to say that the partnership that Radio Cayman has with CISCA in helping us to get the word out to our members on any urgent matters, or even just information about our meeting times and place, being on the talk show and partnering with Radio Cayman, it's also another avenue that our members appreciate. So from a CISCA point of view, I'm saying to the people in charge of Radio Cayman, thank you for allowing
yes,
CISCA,
thank you.
CISCA to come on the show once a month, because this means a lot to our membership.
Well, I think respectfully, Ms. Paula, you know better than two of us combined, but Radio Cayman, whether it's the other agencies in government, even the wider community, an urgent message from a school because of inclement weather or some organization, we're there to help inform the community. Now, as we come back from the break, maybe we can invite you to share more about the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association upcoming events, to extend an invitation to, current and new members equally to get involved.
Absolutely.
Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
What do heroes really do? They show you how to tie a tie, change a tire, or how to grill that perfect steak. So do something for that hero in your life. Your dad. Treat him to the sleek and stylish Samsung Galaxy J7 Neo from only $152 at any Flow store. When you activate a Flow postpaid mobile value plan with tons of data, minutes, and text, you get a chance to win the Big Green Egg Grill. Choose Flow Mobile. Coverage, value, speed on Cayman's fastest 4G LTE network, Flow. Visit a Flow store today or online at discoverflow.ky. Terms and conditions apply.
Kick off your summer at Celebrate Cayman Summer Festival.
Our people, our culture, our history, our heritage, our future.
Enjoy live music performances, local foods, arts and crafts, history and fireworks. Don't miss this enchanting evening, Saturday, June 23rd from 4 p.m. until midnight along the Georgetown Harbor Front. For more information, including vendor and participation opportunities, visit celebratecayman.ky. The Celebrate Cayman Summer Festival, Saturday, June 23rd. Admission is free, so come out and help us to celebrate Cayman.
But I do have some questions.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. And in the studio, we have an opportunity to speak to the president of the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, Sir John Bothwell, and as part of the communications and the PR initiative, as part of Conley. I was just reflecting as we were talking, any large employer, any large organization, if it can be able to get its membership in a collected format, to disseminate information, but also to provide feedback. Now, social media seems to be an easy way. Large families or even sports groups, PTAs, have their little chat forum where information and ideas are exchanged. Well, a large organization, more challenging sometimes it is to not just manage that platform, but to get people so that they can access.
Yeah. Well, that was actually one of the things that we were starting to find. Some of our older, more methods of communication that we've been using, the old CS messages that we all loved if you were on a computer, a lot of our members weren't on the government computer system, so they weren't getting those messages. It was one of the pushes from them to get on these other methods. Come on Radio Cayman, where they can tune in, get on Facebook or whatever, where they can get information. So anybody with a smartphone can pick up these fora, whether it's the Radio Cayman or whether it's their Facebook page or put up their check out on LinkedIn, and so that allows a lot more two-way communications. People can call into this show. We can do members can chat to other members on the Facebook page, and get that two-way communication with people who were feeling a bit left out before. So we're trying to be as inclusive as we can with the technology and with the abilities that we have. And so when we have events coming up, like our next big thing will be 6 a week coming up in summer. We'll be putting those notices out to our members, because these are member events, on things like the Facebook page, direct email to them. Again, it'll come straight to their home computer or their smartphone, wherever they want it to come to. And this really works for those people who, a lot of our members, we're not sitting in front of their desk all the time. I mean, right here, right now, none of us are sitting in front of our desk. We're not getting the emails kind of thing. But we have these other communication channels that people can use. And we really hope that our members will take this on, those who've been asking for it, to lead the way, as it were, and get those dialogues going. We want to hear from our members so we can know what they want us to do. And they keep asking us, how can we get involved? Well, this is one of the ways. Be on there, get the conversation going. We help out the new members of the association as they come on board. And as you start talking, you will find more ways that you can be part of the activities of the Civil Service Association.
When you think about it, I just reflect quickly on the trip to the back for your meeting just recently. They're right there. They're part and parcel of making a functioning civil service, but physically separated, yet they can still be very much connected and have direct and immediate input into what affects their workings and their lives.
Exactly. One of the things we've been able to do just at the management council level is Skype in our directors from the BRAC so that they can be part of the decisions. It's one thing to see them on emails, they get all the emails, but it's another thing then to be able to have that discussion with your peers and say, yeah, but, or, you know how it is when something comes up in conversation, it triggers another thought, and they can throw in this bit of information that they have. And that means that our members in Cayman BRAC can be assured that their directors, their representatives, the six in Management Council, are right in the thick of it, are a part of what's going on. They're not being excluded. If I may ask respectfully, because sometimes some people assume that if they are this, therefore that means they're that. Mm-hmm. If you're a civil servant, does it automatically mean that you're a member of the Civil Service Association? Good question. No, you have to actively join. It is a membership organization. We represent our members. If you are not a member, you're not part of the association. People will know that you have to sign up. Anybody who's interested in signing up, just drop us an email, cicsa@gov.ky. We'll happily send you an application form and get you a part of the group, and then we'll do the invitations to the Facebook group and get you talking with us and that kind of thing. Anybody who's not sure, also drop us an email, cicsa@gov.ky. We'll check the list and let you know if you've already joined or not. We laugh about it, but a lot of our members have been here for a long, long time. When you go to the Civil Service Long Service Awards, most of those people are six members from, back before I joined the civil service kind of thing. Yeah. We have a lot of really hardcore members who understand the benefit of being a part of a group that can stand up and represent them. When things are happening, we can be their voice. And all this communication that we're talking about is another way for us to be your voice. If something is happening, call us, email us, Facebook us, let us know.
And there are many times when our association go to bat for many causes that affect the whole civil service, whether you're a member or not. One good way to know if you're a member is to check that pay slip that you see every month, or that you can get every month online.
I don't see mine.
And if you see $5 coming out of your pay, well, then that means that you're a member. And a lot of civil servants ask, why should I join CICSA? Why, what's so important about it? Personally, the association gives our membership a voice. There's strength in numbers. And just knowing that you have someone to go to bat for you, people who are working behind the scenes, looking at policy, looking at issues that affect our daily lives in the workplace, and having discussions with the powers that be, so to speak, to see how things can be improved for the service. Just that alone is a great reason to be a member of the Civil Service Association. And I just want to also remind our members that a link to our web page is also on the hub. That's the internal communications document that you get into your government email. So you can click on the hub link, and then you will see a link to our web page on there as well. Communications, is my love. It's what I love to do. And it's a lot of work, yes, but I accepted the challenge. I accepted the task, and, I have a very hard-working committee who gives me advice, who helps to steer me in the right direction sometime when my brain gets clogged up and it feels like I just can't get out what I want to say or to do, they steer me in the right direction and give me advice, and I want to thank them for that. You know who you are. I'm not going to call any names in case I forget someone, but I wanted to say publicly that I appreciate you and all the hard work that you're doing with me and this committee to keep the Civil Service Association communications going to the best of my ability.
Yeah, just echoing what Ms. Paulette said, she has probably the hardest working committee, the most productive committee in the Civil Service Association right now. So, we'd be a lot further behind without them. And for those members who are looking for the website, it's just www.cicsa.ky. So CICSA.ky, we're easy to find on the web. And that'll then give you the links to the Facebook page, email if you want to email us. Keep the, easy to find us, CICSA.ky.
An idea that through the membership, as you shared and we've championed over the years, you're a civil servant, you become a member by actively joining. Easy, not an expensive already, $5 a month. I mean, that's not even the price of a cup of coffee, right? I can spend more on chocolate in a day. That's another story. Now, some of us are, civil servants for a long time. We haven't joined.
Mm-hmm.
Does that preclude us from joining?
Nope. Anybody can join at any time. We're always open. We know that people's interests shift over time, and that we're always welcome to people. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the civil service. You could have been in here for 30 years. We're quite happy to have you come and join us today.
Respectfully, what if someone was a civil servant, retired as a civil servant, not gainfully employed now, and wants to join? They've never joined before, or maybe they've joined a membership lapse, but they weren't when they retired.
We're quite happy to have retirees join or really rejoin the association usually, and then it's down to $12 a year. Just give us a check one time, and you're up for the year. We like having these retired members because, again, they have a lot of knowledge. A lot of them are going to be, we talk about retirees like they're older people, but even them are on Facebook. More of them than, a lot of other rest of us kind of thing. And again, so this is a great place for new civil servants to meet and talk to some of these people and get that background information. Through the Civil Service Association, you could be the newest civil servant in the block, chatting to the person who's created your department or whatever the issue is that you're having, and really people who really, really, really understand the way government works and how the rules mesh together, why things are the way they are. Like I said, a lot of stuff will often look like bureaucracy or red tape from the outside, but when you get in there, you realize it's protecting somebody, it's helping somebody else, it's making sure that things work right and get done properly. We see this in other countries. They go on these goals of trying to burn red tape or whatever, and the result is usually that the society suffers a loss of protection and cohesion, whether that is employment protections for the employees, that kind of thing. And I think one thing that as a society we have to remember is the civil service is the beating middle class heart of this country. When we erode our protections and support for the civil service, when civil servants get attacked and called names just for being a civil servant and doing the job to the best of their ability, particularly when they do the job fairly, and don't give you a blood just because you think you're more important than the next 6 people in line, you are attacking the underpinnings of keeping Cayman a good place. There's a reason why we all born here, live here, want to stay here. And a big part of that is having a strong, functioning, stable, and lawful middle class, and that is what the civil service is. That's what the Civil Service Association does for its members, is keep that front and center with the government.
All right, I appreciate it, and I thank you both very much. Any final thoughts, Ms. Paulette?
Yes, I just want to wish all the dads a very happy Father's Day on Sunday when it comes around. I hope that you'll have a most wonderful day. And also on behalf of Management Council and our membership, we'd like to say congratulations to our Deputy Governor, who's the head of the Civil Service, on his being nominated for an MBE, and to say that we wish you well, Mr. Manderson, and we're very proud of you, and wish you all the best, and hope you have a happy Father's Day too. And Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Mr. SDE, on behalf of Management Council, thank you very much for letting us be here today, and we want to wish you a wonderful Father's Day as well.
Thank you, Mom. And it's important that, as Mr. Bothwell shared, civil service is important. We have competent, committed, very credible individuals who continue to serve despite sometimes the attacks otherwise. Looking forward to our next discussion next month, sir.
Yes, it's going to be a good one.
And Cayman Brack, we haven't forgotten you. We'll be coming to do Talk Today again before the year is out for you. So, we're not leaving you out. And Little Cayman is included in the Cayman Brack.
That's it.
In the
I can't make that vote.
Yeah, but again, a great way for our members and these, who aren't right here in the center, to stay in touch with us, get online with these communication tools Ms. Paul has been putting together.
Indeed. Well, thank you both. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, whether it's going to be rainy or not. Weather the weather, we like it. We're going to weather the weather.
Yes, and to all of our listeners, have an enjoyable rest of the afternoon. Be safe when you travel home.